Asking for help if you need it. By Nanex Urga. Summary. Happy had told him that the number was life or death, to never call unless the situation was dire. He called. Or an alternate/rewrite of the building scene just before the final conflict. Why was he so scared to call? It's not like he had all the time in the world or anything. It was dark. He was damp and trembling. It felt like it was getting heavier and heavier and heavier. He was certain a rib was broken and that he'd sprained something somewhere. Both of his hands were technically free, and one was holding Flash's somehow not completely broken phone. He was shaking as he looked over the phone number. Happy had said it was only for life and death, right? He pressed call. Tony Stark hadn't meant to be in New York that night. It was an accident in a way. He was supposed to be attending the birthday of a politician in DC, but had managed to fangle his way out of it to go to the opening celebration of a superhero installation at the MOMA PS1 in Queens. Neither was his speed, but being in Queens meant perhaps swinging, he was funny, by the Parker apartment and chatting with the Spiderling about getting his suit back. He felt he'd quote-unquote grounded the kid enough. Yeah, sure, it's only been a week, but he felt a bit guilty taking the suit away. The kid was in over his head. He needed a good slice of humble pie. Okay, maybe not a big one. The kid just wanted to help. Maybe he'd give him the suit on some sort of condition? As he continued to ponder ways to perhaps get the kid back into the suit, his phone rings. He glances down at the caller ID. He furrowed his brow, holding up his finger to whoever was trying to talk to him and brought the phone up to his ear. Hello?
Mr. Stark?
Just his first few words stopped Tony's thought process in his tracks. He sounded off, rough. He tried to shake it off and play it casual. Maybe Happy got sick of his calls and gave the kid his number? Hey there, Underoos. Got something to...
I need your help.
The word help sounded strained.
Please.
Help? Kid, what the hell? There was a sudden sound in the background, rubble falling and metal creaking. Peter let out an anguished cry that drained the color from Tony's face.
Please, Mr. Stark, I'm stuck. I can't get out. I can't. It hurts. God, it hurts.
The boy cried into the horrified adult's ear. Tony quickly turned the call over to his Bluetooth and made his way out the party without so much as a toodles to any of the guests. Kid, calm down. What happened? He asked, going over his Audi's trunk. Those suitcase Ironmans always seemed to come in handy. He kind of hated that.
I found him. I found the vulture. He was my date's dad. Liz's dad. I followed and...
He whimpered. The creaking of metal sounded way too close for Tony's comfort as he suited up.
It was a trap. I didn't notice until it was too late.
He was hyperventilating, struggling, like he was lifting something. Tony didn't like what this inferred about his situation. Wait, are you telling me you went after him without the suit? Tony wanted to sound stern, not to rile up what was possibly a teenager already in the middle of a panic attack, but it came out sounding more, panicked than intended. He tracked Peter's phone easily, taking off in that direction. "Pete, did you even—"
I know!
he cried out.
I'm in over my head and I'm stupid. I'm sorry.
He sobbed.
I shouldn't. I wanted to help.
He choked out. Tony could almost physically feel a pain in his chest.
You were right. I'm way out of my league.
There was a sound not unlike a laser and the crumbling of rubble. "Peter?" He was both very relieved and very anxious when he was greeted with another anguished cry.
Help! Please help! I'm sorry, I shouldn't have.
He suddenly coughed and wheezed some more. Closing in. T-minus 5 minutes. Friday announced. "Just hang on, kid," Tony ordered. "And never call yourself stupid again, do you hear me?"
But
he stuttered out.
Went out without, and now I'm stuck.
Tony let his eyes shut for a few seconds to contemplate what to say next as the kid kept talking/whimpering. "You went after this guy without the suit," he repeated himself, but as a statement of fact, rather than an accusation.
You said that if I'm nothing without the suit, I shouldn't have it.
Peter recalled, his voice growing quiet, contemplative despite the ache in his tone. "And here you are, still getting into shit without it," he continued. "You've got quite the will, kid." T-minus 3 minutes. He heard Peter take a deep, seemingly calming breath and mutter something to himself. "Pete?" Tony voiced.
Come on, Spider-Man, come on!
Peter was repeating himself, sounding strained. The rubble sound was moving. "Peter? The hell are you doing, Peter?" Tony saw the building, or what was left of it, and noticed the not insignificant amount of debris that was currently moving.
Come on, Spider-Man, come on!
Peter almost screamed, and Tony put 2 and 2 together, feeling himself nearly go lightheaded as he figured out what had happened and what was happening. The kid had been left to die, crushed under rubble, and now he was getting himself out using his own strength. Peter let out a yell from the exertion, pushed to his absolute limit as he continued to lift the rubble off of himself. Tony could hear it. It sounded almost painful and like it was taking everything he had. "Friday, scan for him now!" But before Friday could find him, an AC unit the size of a bus was pushed over, and out came a very distressed but relieved Spider-Man. Tony didn't think he could feel relief like this anymore. He touched down a few feet from the kid, and Peter looked back at him, panting. He didn't even need to ask Friday to scan for injuries. As the scan commenced, he looked over the boy, who was covered in scrapes and bruises, dirt and grime, water and sweat. Saying he was worse for wear felt like an understatement. He was dressed in that homemade costume he'd worn before Tony has gifted him the suit, and it was surprisingly still in one piece despite everything. From the looks of it, so were his web shooters. Peter was still looking back at him, panting heavily and gripping his mask tightly in one hand. His brown eyes were wide as saucers, and his hair was sticking up a little funny. His expression, however, was hard to read. His third left rib had been cracked, but is already healing. The others are bruised, and he has sprained his ankle, though it is, again, already showing signs of healing. Miraculously, he is about 90% fine. Friday concluded. "Kid." Tony couldn't think of what he could say now. Peter stared back at him for a few more seconds before he tilted his head a bit. Are you really here? He had the mask lift to reveal his face, hoping that his panic didn't show too bad. He had to play it cool for this kid, of course. He didn't think the kid could look more surprised, but he was continually underestimating Peter, it seemed. The two simply stared at one another, each unsure of how to proceed. Should Peter try to run? Should Tony get stern with him again? It was unclear at this point. Suddenly, Peter turned his head and looked up, where the vulture was perched. "He's still here?" the boy exclaimed, slightly losing his footing as he turned and nearly falling over, caught by his forearm before he could hurt himself further. "I'm sorry, where do you think you're going?" the man asked incredulously. Peter looked down for a moment, heavily contemplative before speaking. "I created this mess. I have to fix it. There's still time." "You nearly died. I think you've done—" "Not this time," Peter interrupted, almost screaming. "Not this time, Mr. Stark," he repeated, quieter this time. "Please." Tony was starting to realize that this damn kid was going to be the death of him, or himself if he wasn't careful. "You're gonna do this no matter what, huh?" Again, another statement. I figured I'd proven that already." He awkwardly shrugged. Tony sighed, the mask coming back down. "Then mask up, Spider-Man." The odd stare only lasted a few seconds before Peter's grin took over, threatening to aggravate the cut on his lower lip. He put on his makeshift mask and pointed up. "He's waiting. I don't even think he knows you're here," he started. "He's gonna rob the cargo plane, the one from the old Avengers Tower." "Huh. Well, I think it's about time we got off our asses and stopped him, He could practically feel Peter's grin return as he shot a web shooter and just took off. Tony heaved a deep sigh. "Yup, here we go," Tony muttered, following behind. "Friday, contact Happy and tell him that I need to talk." "Of course, sir." There was much to discuss, but first, a nasty asshole who nearly killed a kid needed some serious thwarting. It could wait. The warehouse scene in Homecoming has me by the throat every time, and I love any fix of Tony finding out or showing his reaction to it. Thank you so much, Nanix, for giving me permission to Podfic your lovely writing. And thank you, dear listeners, for watching. Don't forget to send kudos to the author through the link in the description. Also, if you'd like to request any fics, YouTube community tabs are now open for you to post, aside from Tumblr. And if you'd like to show more support or check out the monthly schedule, click the link through Ko-fi. Hope you have a great week. Till next time.